Hi, I'm Bret. This is another episode of Broadway Life where we teach you how to get a Broadway life. And today our guest is Sheri Sanders.
Hi.
Sheri, tell the people what you do.
Oh my goodness. Well, I am a musical theater performer. And I also teach other musical theater performers and their educators how to audition for rock musicals. So I am the woman who created Rock the Audition.
Rock the Audition!
That's me!
Which I talk about at least once a week.
Oh, that's awesome.
To people, because you are such an expert at what you do.
Thank you.
And a very inspirational performer too. Like, I've seen you perform and you're amazing.
Thank you.
And I know you just did Mamma Mia.
I did. I just did Mamma Mia, and I leave on the 7th to go do Toxic Avenger.
Yes!
So I'm excited. So I'm a performer, and I teach Rock the Audition, and then I started arranging audition cuts on music notes this year.
That is really cool.
Yeah. So then I ended up finding out 5 years ago that I had PTSD. And that was what I was diagnosed with, and that's why I was getting in the way, is because I actually had trauma in my body that was getting in the way of all of my dreams. And until I was able to get a hold of them, it was always going to be in my way if I wasn't teaching. So now I've been addressing it since I turned 40.
How are you addressing it?
I go to a therapist who does something called EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization reprogramming, I think.
Ooh.
Which is what they give for people who are in car accidents or who come back from the war, or anybody who's had who maybe was a part of a shooting or saw an accident happen. What happens is when we get traumatized, we get the trauma stuck in our body, and it changes the way our nervous system functions. So then we have that trauma, and then we start acting from that trauma rather than acting like a normal person.
Can you talk about what the trauma was?
Yeah, so, and thank you for letting me talk about it, because I feel like a lot of us have PTSD. And not everybody knows that that's what they have, because I didn't know that that's what I had. So
I believe that too, and I think that actually when talking to you about it, I realized that I definitely have some trauma from my childhood.
Mm-hmm. We all do.
Yeah.
One, because parents are doing the best that they can. And two, things happen. Life happens, and sometimes we have parents who have alcohol problems, and sometimes we get into car accidents, and sometimes, these things happen, and then we just go about our life after it happens and pick up where we left off, but we're not the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm somebody who you would say has complex traumas, meaning that I had a few of them, and they came from different sources. So one source was that I was hit by a car when I was 11 and very badly injured. And they put me back together, and then I went back into my life. But I had a fear of dying. And I couldn't figure that out until I understood, but that happens to a lot of people. And I know it's scary to get help or even admit that you have a problem, but then you do feel better. I mean, I'm on medication, and it's a low dose, but it makes me feel like it's easier to be in the world, I think.
Yeah.
What about you? How do you find this tone of the world right now, especially since you lost a friend?
So I lost a friend who was a really dear friend from high school, and he was in Afghanistan, and I just don't think he never talked about it. He never dealt with the PTSD. He had been shot, and he had recovered, but then he got deployed again, and when he came back from deployment, he never called anybody, he never reached out, and I sort of tried not to beat myself up and the feeling that I should have done more, but that was really hard. But I think that I do believe I see hope in the world, and I do believe that the pendulum swings, and I know that we're going to get through this.
Yes.
That's my belief.
I agree with you. I will co-sign that document.
No one in this business is looking out for you but you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
So if you think that the stage manager or the director is going to see your value, or going to see you're giving away your power, because you have to look out for you. You have to look out for your artist. You have to speak up when you don't feel safe.
That's right.
You have to speak up, and that doesn't mean emotionally safe or physically safe. And you can't expect other people to do that for you, not in this business.
I've learned that actually recently, which was that was a tough
It sounds negative, but it's
true. But it's really what it's good about is you don't have to hurt anybody, but it is a good thing to look out for yourself. That doesn't mean that you don't have to be a cool person. You just have to. You are responsible for your own life and your own career. But that's why I think it's really, really important to say so, since you're responsible for everything. I have a question for you, which is, going to be for your awesome community that you've created. But I would love to know what your thoughts are about the movement that's happening in the musical theater community in regards to bullying and sexual assault and people speaking up and people not speaking up, being able to speak, not being able to speak, because we just lost that gentleman who was in Chicago. And when that happened, I've been kind of noticing, because I have there's a gentleman that I've worked with who I feel is bullying, and I'm in that space where I'm like, do I speak up about it, or do I just kind of keep nailing my life? What do I do,
Yeah.
Because I'm an advocate, so I want to advocate.
Somebody you're working with?
Not anymore.
Okay.
I was working with him, but he still has a little bit of a, I don't know what word I'm looking for. He still has weight, and so. And I thought, I wonder, how do I release this feeling of being bullied? And I noticed that there was a whole thing going on of a bunch of people who've been bullied by people who are in the industry. And then there were all those people who, when there was an article being written about sexual assault, all these people came forward and spoke, and then the article never happened.
I know.
So I would love to know
I wrote an article about it on my blog, about that New York Times thing that never happened. But I think ultimately what it comes down to is that we as collectively have to start acknowledging other people, and that's what I was hoping this would do. If we see somebody saying something to someone else inappropriate, it's not maybe affecting us, but if we don't speak up on behalf of that person, then we're not doing our part in the collective thing of this, right?
Exactly.
So I think that sometimes it's about trying to make ourselves bigger through the collective, as opposed to trying to
take care of ourselves.
Individually take care of ourselves. And I think this is one of those things in which we can do that. If we bear witness to a director or a stage manager inappropriately speaking up to someone, then it is up to us as a witness to speak up on behalf of that person, because they are us and we are them.
That's right. That is our responsibility. We cannot change the energy of the universe if we are not in service to everybody. And we're leveling the playing field.
Yep.
What are we doing? I'm not sacrificing my life to level the playing field. I'm letting a person of color play a role that I would play because it doesn't have anything to do with them being white. So what terrible thing am I doing? My opportunity will come in a different form, in a different way. So,
when I look at what we have, when I look collectively at what we have really done as a nation to Black people.
Oh my God, we've ruined their lives over and over again, and they keep making great art out of what we do to them.
Years. And to sit here and say that I'm not getting work, it's just wrong. I'm totally like, please. Give them jobs.
Yeah,
exactly. I want to go help people of the African American community and other minority communities. I want to help teach them so that we have better trained people of color.
That's right.
So that people of color have more skill than I ever got.
Yep.
So that they
can
more
start training people.
It doesn't matter to me. I'm not holding on to this because I believe we all win.
We certainly do. And not only that, but if you look at how people are stepping up, like those wonderful young people from that high school in Florida.
I can't wait to see what they do with the world, what they do with our country.
They're going to do, but we can do that here. And we don't have to put ourselves in life danger, but we will be having as great of an effect, because what we're saying is, it's not mine, it's ours.
Yep.
And that is...
So I think, so going back to your question,
I
think that with this bullying thing, and I think that it's up to us to speak up for those that we are witnessing. It's not enough to be a witness and acknowledge, and you still have to speak up when a man catcalls to a woman, you have to say, dude,
don't do that.
That's not appropriate.
Yeah.
When you hear someone generalize, I heard this happen. When you hear someone generalize the black population as poor and ignorant, you have to say, that's not true. That is not right. Like, you have to speak up. Like, this is just not...
Yeah.
It's
not a time to be passive.
Yeah, it's not a time to be passive. And it's a time to find your voice and to help other people find their voice.
And I think what would be really, and I love that you said that, and I think, some of the ways that in my teaching I really work on it, like when I teach Motown, and you're a white person and you want to sing a black person song, it's like, you gotta be like, I gotta see your appreciation for what Stevie Wonder went through to be able to have this song that influenced you. Like, don't be a white person appropriating, be a white person appreciating, If you want to sing rap, that's cool, but first you gotta listen to all styles of rap, and then you gotta rap about something that you know about, not something that's not your experience.
Yes.
And we can do it in artistic ways. We can walk into the audition room and say, I care about race.
Yep.
What a great way, because you can write hashtag Black Lives Matter on social media, and you should, and you could also walk into the audition room and you can say, race matters to me.
Yeah.
And it will. It is the way and the direction that we're all moving theater in for it to matter. So, wouldn't it be neat if it came from us too?
Yeah. I'm really excited to see when we get through this tough time.
Yes.
What comes of it? Because I do believe if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing.
That's the truth.
And so we're in an uncomfortable place in our country, but when we come out of uncomfortable situations, we are better for it. And so we're going to be better if we can all be collective on this. If we can all believe that we're going to be better. We
are going to be better. It's just knowing that there's ways that we could do it, and what you're saying is a huge way that we can as artists, which is to make space for the people who deserve to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Live your best Broadway life.